Today we're going to talk about equity, how to think about equity. Is it safe for me to use it? Should I leverage it? Or is it safer to leave it in my current primary residence and take that kind of quote unquote safer path? So let's dig into this. Two of the most common ways that we see people start to invest is one, through a chunk of cash. They either saved up that money, or they've sold a company, or they got a dividend payment, or they moved and they remortgaged and put a chunk of that money aside. One way or another, they got a chunk of cash. Second way is that they leverage some equity in their home. And so for people that have owned their home in the last 10 years, the market has gone up substantially during that period of time, and a lot of people have access to equity. So let's just talk about what that equity is and how to think about accessing it if and when you're going to. Just quickly on a high level, I've got a home, and the value of that home is worth $800,000, okay? And let's say in this example, I've got a $200,000 mortgage. The bank is going to give me 80% of that $800,000, and so they're going to give me up to $640,000. We're not going to get into title qualifications and debt service ratios and all that stuff today. More what I'm trying to do is look at a high level picture of equity and whether or not it's safe or smart to access it and go use it. All right, so in this case, back to these numbers, we've got an $800,000 home, $640,000 is what we have access to, and a $200,000 mortgage. So what does that mean? 640 versus the 200 means roughly we're going to get access to 440,000 of that money, okay? So that means we have 440,000 potentially that we can use to go out and start investing, okay? So what are my choices at this point? Well, option A, I can do nothing, right? I can keep that money locked up in my house where it's quote unquote safe, and I can let that money sit. Option B, I can access that and go and invest. So in option A, what does that mean to actually leave that money quote unquote safe in your house? Well, in 5 years' time, that 440,000 is still going to be sitting there at 440,000. The price of your home is likely to have gone up, but that chunk of 440 that you have access to today is not going to do anything. Think of it as latent potential. And in fact, what it does is it shrinks, right? Because of inflation. 3% inflation per year means 100,000 today is only worth 97,000 in a year from now. And so we can say that it's going to sit there dormant and it's going to be the same 440,000 in 5 years time, when in fact it's actually shrinking a little bit. So let's just call it a wash. Let's say it's 440 in 5 years, same as it is today, and it's not doing anything for us. Or we can invest, right? And so let's look at that option of investing. What does that mean for us if this is the path we're going to choose? Okay, so let's jump into the spreadsheet for a quick second here. What we've got here is an overview of 9 of the different markets in the GTA, the select markets that we choose to look at and invest in. And let's take the Oshawa market here just quickly. Long-term capital tied up is 89,000. Profit in 5 years is 274,000. Okay, so that's, long-term capital, profit in 5 years. Let's take those numbers, and now let's come back to what does this investing scenario look like? Well, we covered the fact that I have $440,000 access to that money, right? Let's say, for example, let's round that to an easy number. Let's say it's 400,000. Okay, so I have 400,000, and taking the numbers from the spreadsheet, it was 89,000 and 274. Let's take the 89. Let's call it $100,000 capital tied up in each one of these duplexes we're going to create, and let's round down on the profit that I'm going to create. And let's say I'm going to make 250,000 in profit for each 100 that I put in. Okay, so we're using these simple numbers, and now doing that kind of back of the napkin math. My 400,000 is going to get me 4 of these properties times 4 equals $1 million in profit. Okay, so I'm going to tie up 4 times 100,000 to create 4 different duplexes, and each one of those is going to create me 250,000 in profit. After I pay that 100 back in roughly 5 years, that profit is going to equal $1 million. Okay, so now let's recap. We talked about the 2 options here in step 3. We can do nothing, and we know in fact that our money is going to be shrinking a little bit over that 5-year period. or we can choose to invest, right? Investing looks like I tie up my 400,000 and I'm gonna make roughly 250 per home, $1 million in profit, in net profit in the 5-year time period. And so that, you know, this is, you could use a number of different analogies. This is like exercise, right? There's risk in doing nothing. There's risk in investing. Same as exercise. You stay on the couch, there's risk in that. You're going to atrophy. You get up and do something, there's a risk in that, and that you could hurt yourself. The key here in both cases is how you get up and take action. And that's where we train, right? We train on what are the safe, secure methods to kind of produce this type of result. It's up to you whether you decide to not act on it or act on it. If you decide to act on it, if this kind of thing is intriguing for you, get in touch, because we can provide that path to do that secure investing in a predictable, scalable, repeatable way. All right, I hope that helps.